Well, welcome back to the Big Ranch Show. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to talk about the new COVID variant. The sounds more like a transformer than it does a variant of a disease, it seems like. The Omicron variant, apparently. Apparently it's first detected in South Africa, then it's in places like Spain and Europe, in different places. And it's also been detected here in the United States. Now, the thing is, people don't need to panic about this particular variant just yet. We're not 100% sure exactly what it's going to do. We don't know if it'll become the new dominant strain or not. There have been other strains that have come up, like the MU variant, which turned into nothing. But right now, this one seems to be taking off. Now, the good thing is, according to data coming out of South Africa, and even the people that have contracted this in the UK and Europe and Spain and all those different places, the people that have got this particular variant have not had severe symptoms, especially if they were vaccinated against COVID to begin with. Now, there's no guarantee that the COVID vaccine will work 100% against this variant, but it'll at least give you some protection against it. It'll at least help you survive it if you get it and keep your symptoms mild to even asymptomatic. Now, in the coming weeks, we will see how severe the symptoms can be, because we don't exactly know just yet. But as of right now, most people that have contracted this have had mild symptoms, fever, body aches, basically your common run-of-the-mill flu. But we got to, keep our guard up. I suggest if you're due a booster, get your booster for COVID. We're scheduled for later this week. So I do suggest people get their booster shots when they're available to do so. According to CVS, it's 6 months after having your last shot of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines, and 2 months after you got your Johnson & Johnson, also known as the Janssen vaccine. So, most people are eligible for that, if they fall in that range, if they're 18 plus, according to CDC guidelines and the FDA, as of recent documentation they've put out. Now, people keep saying, well, why is there always a new variant? Well, it's just what viruses do. There's really nothing you can do to stop them from mutating. They happen. The hope that I have, anyway, is at some point it'll keep mutating until the dominant strain is, kind of nothing. But here's the thing. They're saying that COVID is probably going to become endemic, which is something we're going to have to deal with going forward. It's not going to just go away like other viruses have done. It could become like your flu, where it's around every year, and the only way to protect ourselves is going to be through vaccines and other medications that can help, cure it. Right now, there's, I believe, a Pfizer pill out there that's getting FDA emergency authorization, I think now, that's a possible cure to fight COVID, which would be great for those people that get it even though they're vaccinated. I have friends out there, especially one I just saw recently on Facebook, talking about how they got the vaccine because they were requested to do so by friends so they could go do certain things. But left with that little antidote of, well, people get the vaccine and get COVID anyway. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason that people still get sick after a vaccine has taken place. And that's because vaccines are not 100%, as I've said in almost every video on COVID before this. No vaccine is 100%. There's always a chance that you'll still get sick. When they say there's a success rate or an efficacy rate of 90%, that still leaves a 10% window that you could get infected. But the fact remains of the people that are in the hospital, even though the numbers are slightly going up for vaccinated people, mostly vaccinated people who have not boosted, All in all, roughly 90% of all hospitalizations of COVID are in the unvaxxed community, regardless of why they're unvaxxed. That's just how it is. 95% of all deaths from COVID are happening, at least as of last check, as of October, end of October, 1st of November. 95% of deaths from COVID were from the unvaxxed community. I've been watching a number of people whose family have suffered through this on TikTok. Been watching some TikTok videos here and there, and I follow this one guy, James Chubb, I believe his name was. He was on Good Morning America a few weeks ago. His wife contracted COVID, had to deliver her baby, I believe he said 38 weeks. So, baby was born earlier than they had planned, apparently. And his wife is having to relearn to do everything. Relearn to walk. She's doing good from what I've seen. But the fact that people are not taking this seriously at this point is, it's not good. It's bad. It's bad thought processes, I guess. I don't know. Like, I've seen videos of a woman who was pregnant, since I saw this other woman have to deliver at 38 weeks. And she's all ecstatic because she didn't get vaccinated. I guarantee you that woman that I've been seeing on TikTok would have loved to have been able to have the vaccine. But at the point that she contracted COVID, the vaccine was not really fully approved for pregnant women. Now it is. There are a lot of things that COVID can cause unborn children. It can cause stillbirth, other sorts of birth defects. It can cause all sorts of problems for the mother. But no one seems to care about these things. No one seems to care about what effects COVID could have down the road. They're only worried about what the effects are right now. Did you know that 1 in 10 lung transplants right now are being done for COVID patients? Because COVID destroys your lungs to such a point that you need new lungs to survive or you will die. Yet people say it's nothing. Just a flu bug. Just a common cold. But it's not. When's the last time you knew of a common cold that caused someone to need a lung transplant? But this new Omicron variant, it does create a scary situation for people. I know my first thought was, great, here we go again. But then they started saying that so far it's been mild. Now, apparently there are some changes, some 30 mutations in this particular variant of the virus. 30 different mutations, mostly involving how the virus connects with our cells. I'm no scientific person here. I don't know the lingo, the jargon that people are going to use. I just know that we need to keep taking precautions. I'm not saying uproot your life. I'm not saying run and hide. But take precautions. If you go out in public, wear your mask. If I learned anything from watching the Macy's Day Parade on Thanksgiving, was that anybody can wear a mask for a few minutes into a store. That anybody can wear a mask. Why? Because I saw a whole dance troupe of kids wearing masks down the entire parade route, and even while they performed in front of the Macy's store. So, if they can wear a mask and do all that, then you can wear a mask on your 20-minute trip into Walmart. Now, if you have any new information, please let me know down in the comments. If you have more information than what I've provided here, I'm sure people watching the video would be interested in what you have to say. Just make sure it's legit. None of this scare tactic BS saying that it's, or any of that BS saying that it doesn't exist or something. Because that stuff's just going to get deleted. Because at this point, you can't tell me COVID doesn't exist. You can't tell me it's not real. You can't tell me that almost 1 million Americans are dead and that it didn't happen. And that millions of people across the globe are dead. And it wasn't real. Quit trying to sit there and act like it didn't happen, that it's not happening. But you got all these people out there trying to convince you that COVID's a hoax, and it's not. Early on when it started, I hoped that the crazy people were right, that it was just some kind of hoax. I hoped that it would just disappear, knowing that it wouldn't. But this could potentially have good effects on the markets if it stays mild. If it turns out that the symptoms are just mild, the market will continue going if you have anything in the stock market. And it's just, I just don't know what else to say about it. Yet again, another virus, another mutation of the virus. And look where it came from. What have I been saying since the beginning of this damn thing? Especially since we got the vaccines. That every time that you have a chance, the virus has a chance to get into another host, it creates a new place for it to mutate. This thing came out of South Africa. The vaccination rate in South Africa is roughly 40%. Kind of like a lot of places in the U.S. where people just don't get vaccinated. There's a reason you had variants come out of Florida, Texas, while you had them come out of Brazil. Variants are going to happen regardless. Variants are going to happen of all viruses. It's just the way life works, right? As I said in Jurassic Park, life will find a way. But why give it extra places to mutate? Yes, you can still contract and even spread COVID with a vaccine. But the likelihood is less. Your chances of passing it on are less. And if you can't pass it on, a potential mutation in you won't necessarily get out and kill somebody else. Especially if you're wearing your mask, social distancing, best you can anyway, and getting your vaccine. If you have not scheduled to get your booster shots, they're free at every CVS and Walgreens pretty much across the country. Yes, they'll ask about insurance at CVS anyway, they will. Just if you don't have insurance, just mark you don't have insurance. The government's already paid for these vaccines. You might as well get out there and get them. They've already spent your tax dollars to buy these vaccines. One of the few things that Donald Trump did right was buying up a lot of these vaccines for the American people. Our government took your tax money and bought these vaccines. So get out there and get your vaccine. That way we can maybe slow down the next variant. Because I'm sick of all of it. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing all the BS, all the people making lies and bullshit because they are too scared and don't want to admit that they're scared. I freely admit that this virus scares the hell out of me. Because I know what it means for me, particularly. And even if you get vaccinated, say you don't want to get vaccinated for yourself, get vaccinated for the people you know. Get vaccinated for that friend of yours that may not be able to survive it if you bring it to them. Anyways, this has been the Big Ranch Show. I've been your host. I'll see you down the road.